Now, the New Patriotic Party says John Mahamas' claim that the future NDC government will repeal the e-levy is a scam. According to the governing party, the former president failed to respect the the toll tax in his tenure, despite a similar promise by the NDC prior to the 2008 elections. At a news conference this afternoon, Yao Boabeng Asamoah asked Ghanaians to disregard the promise from John Dramani Mahama.
Ladies and gentlemen, in his 23-page paper, as you are all aware, delivered, the NDC aspirant for flag bearer artfully skips his gargantuan false investment into establishing the interoperability platform. $1.2 billion. $1.2 billion was contracted to install a platform that fell short of allowing bank accounts to speak to Momo wallets for only $4.5 million. And look at the difference. 1.2 billion. 1.2 billion for a substandard application and a higher spec application for only $4.5 million. And that system that was installed has grown revenue from internet businesses, internet usage, internet financial transactions from GHS 78 billion in 2016 to nearly 1 trillion cedis by end 2021. Even so, the John Mahama endorsed company sought damages in court in excess of $400 million for no work done. He doesn't state this in his paper. He only glosses over it and says that they've done a lot of work. His government about interoperability. But he forgets to tell us that he was going to waste 1.2 billion, not million, or billion of taxpayer funds on a system that could not deliver what is being delivered now for $4.5 million. I think it's about 2,600%, the difference. That's John Mahama for you. Finally, please look at the claim to repeal e-levy. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a scam. Just like one-time premium and the repeal of top tax. It is a scam. In any event, can John Mahama explain the difference in his 17.5% tax on financial transactions and his manifesto pledge to impose a uniform tax on all electronic transactions? Are these measures e-levy in disguise? And does he still stand by those measures? Because in the one instance, he implemented, the NPP repealed the 17.5% tax on financial transactions. NPP repealed it. In the other instance, it was in his 2020 manifesto that he was going to apply a uniform tax to all electronic transactions. What was that? Is that different from the e-levy, or it is the name that he is yet to find?
Yao Boabeng Asamoah also took on claims by John Mahama that the NPP's economic record is the worst in recent times. He maintains the NPP has a far superior economic record compared to that of John Mahama.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest gap in John Mahama's approach to your political feelings is his refusal to acknowledge the true impact of COVID-19 and the Russian-Ukraine war on the economy of Ghana. Whilst he opts to believe beyond the shores of Ghana, his hope of election lies in misrepresenting the state of Ghana to the extent that he even ignores the bare truth that the IMF and the World Bank put out at the end of the program he put us into. Yes. If the NDC still accepts IMF and World Bank projections, is the 5.4% projected growth for 2022 still valid? As we speak, even with the major difficulties we have, international multilateral agencies, the IMF and the World Bank in the lead, are saying that Ghana's economy is going to grow by 5.4% this year, 2022. And yet, John Mahama says it is the worst economy he has seen in the world. I believe it is better than the 3.4% he left us in 2016. Without COVID and the pandemic, without the further crisis being caused by the war, Ukraine and Russia. he still left us a plunge in growth to 3.4%. He should compare that to the 5.4% being predicted and let us know whether or not that represents the worst economy ever in Ghana.
Claimed in his presentation that the government has mismanaged COVID-19 funds, but Boabin Asamoah says John Mahama has no evidence to back this claim and is only seeking to make government unpopular.
In terms of COVID-19 funds, the aspirant Mahama and NDC keep clutching at straws as if there are no public accountability rules in Ghana. In any event, at the May Day parade, the president in his speech stated clearly that the loss of expected revenue in excess of GHS 12 billion and increases in expenditure amounting to GHS 14 billion gave a combined profile of about GHS 27.3 billion, a whopping 6.8% of GDP, due directly to COVID-19. And John Mahama finds it convenient to quote 30 billion, do all the mathematics, add all the figures, and end up at 30 billion. Well, if he cares to see, we are also talking about 27 billion, 27.3 billion, directly as a cause of COVID. So if you allow the public accountability institutions to work, we will find a clear conclusion about COVID mathematics. An objective content analysis of the nearly 30 presidential updates delivered by President Akufo-Addo and international assessments shows the progressive and largely successful policy framework pursued by the NPP administration in controlling the pandemic. The desperate self-serving assessments of the NDC, John Mahama, and its dysfunctional COVID-19 team do not reflect the reality of the world or Ghana as far as COVID management is concerned.
Well, let's stay on the governing New Patriotic Party because the party is challenging recent international reports that have cast the country in a poor light in terms of media freedoms. Ghana's performance in the 2022 Press Freedom Index has been described as the worst in close to 2 decades, ranking 60th out of 180 countries. 30 places dropped from last year when we placed 30th. The ranking attributed Ghana's slump to the intolerance on the part of the government and arrest of journalists using the law on publication of false information. A recent BBC report also impugned the country's press freedom credentials. But speaking at the press conference this afternoon, Communications Director of the NPP, Boabin Asamoah, said Ghana's media is the freest and there's no state-sponsored impediment in the way of journalists.
The NPP tradition fought consistently for the recognition of the core democratic rights to governance in terms of association and movement, and in addition to speech, with successive constitutions preceding the Fourth Republic accepting and implementing these rights. We, the NPP, repealed the criminal libel law and rationalized the role of the NCA as a regulator par excellence. The real challenge now is balance. Recent reports, both internal and external, hyperbolically declaiming the supposed loss of media freedom in Ghana are painting and playing up a picture of systematic harassment against free speech. But is it truly the case? And does mainstream media and civil society experience that in their daily lives and activities? Moreover, is free speech limitless? And can it be mischievously used as an instrument to foster instability? These are key questions, objective answers to which can dampen the scurrilous damage to hard-earned political stability and potential growth in the name of regime change. The NPP believes Ghana media is the freest ever and that its contributions to media growth are unparalleled in the Fourth Republic. In sum, NPP decriminalized speech, supported infrastructure and training with the International Press Center and support funds, and improved spectrum allocation and regulatory oversight. Free speech will continue its healthy climb under successive NPP administrations. Secondly, under the heading, a broken social contract, John Mahama woefully fails at painting an abysmal picture of democracy since 2017, insinuating a promises.